It's Group 1 day at Trentham, 5 black type races in all on Al Basti, Equiworld, Dubai, New Zealand, Oaks Day. Aidan Rodley to preview the 9 race program, starting with the first, or just before we get into the first, Aidan, conditions.
So come up a dead 6 at the moment when we're doing this on a Friday. The rain that was meant to have come looks as though it's largely going to avoid Wellington and the Hutt Valley region, so hopefully we get a dead 6 or maybe even better. Kick off with the old floozy Premier, and Henry Winkler was pretty good last time out and the time before, $6. Comeback was terrific last time out and gives Shiana Johnson another chance of going back to back. Had beaten Sign Yong in that race. In the end though, I've gone with Power O'Hara on top. I thought the trial was terrific at Cambridge last month. Here's a horse who has won fresh in the past. The overall record's good, 4 from 10. I just thought she might have an edge. She has been accepted for a race later in the day, but I thought Power O'Hara. How'd you see it, Jason?
I was pretty keen on Sweepstake in the first race there. It's a March Madness race, first 2 races at Trentham and also Tauranga. Up to $20 refunded if your horse doesn't win, as long as it finishes in the first 4. You place the bet through your account, so Sweepstakes, my March Madness bet. Race number 2 is for the 2-year-olds, and Equinox is the $1.60 favourite. $5 for In Fashion. It's the March Madness Cup. And I assume you're not going to do anything mad and go outside of Equinox here, right? No,
I'm going with Equinox, who was very good in winning on debut here at Trentham. Went to Matamata last time out, a little bit disappointed, just didn't really quicken in a race where the form has stacked up okay with Dundee coming out of that race and winning the 16 mistakes at Group 1 level. I just think maybe the horse who needs it dry. And so, with the rain-affected track at Matamata last time, it probably didn't help. But there's just enough about what we saw from Equinox to be the bet here. I thought the danger was actually Shabua Kosultan, who was terrific at the trial and had run 4th in that Tarapa race, what we saw probably will run 2nd in as well on debut. So, yeah, I am with Equinox a favourite at 160. Maybe your March Madness, when you're getting a 2nd, 3rd or 4th refund, you might want to go a little bit wider. Yeah,
full blinkers on Equinox as well. Race number 3 is the St Ledger, and it's brought to you by Yalen's Family Wines. We spoke in length about Samson on the first call. You've got Zach Brown, who is at $15, and there's an 8-kilo weight swing between it and Samson. Solsafay at $5.50. Special Light and Lucetta both at $4.80. They're mares that have a lot of promise about them over the staying trip. I thought Anarchy was really good last time out, had to sustain a run, and I thought it was a better run than Lucetta actually at Hastings. Started to make that run earlier and just came to the end of it late. Lucetta was left flat-footed by the turn of foot that Anarchy had. So I'm a little bit surprised that it's at $10, but I couldn't go past Samson at $4, Aidan, and going off what you discussed on the first call as well, I'm picking that you're exactly the same.
Absolutely, yeah, clearly with Samson here, and we're seeing that like he's at $4. You look at a horse like Special Light, who's come up from a maiden win to winning last time out in rating 72 company. It's been a nice little sequence, and a horse who does show a lot of promise, but that horse is at $4.80 and under a true handicap would be carrying 43 kilograms. Instead it's carrying 53 kilograms and meeting Samson just 2.5 kilograms worse off, and we know Samson's a multiple Group 2 winner. This time, like last year, we went back to back and added an Awapuni Gold Cup. He looks thrown in this race at the weights. His form's been great. You know, he's a listed winner of the Martin Cup, 3 starts back, and no other horse in this race can bring that type of form. He looked a standout, and I don't think the $4 will hang around. My suggestion is get onto that now.
Yeah, it's not like his form has fallen off a cliff. He was in a 4-horse 1,600 metre race last time where things didn't quite pan out, and now he's got everything in his favour. So I'm with you. Race number 4, this is how the market stacks up for the Hardy Trade Premier. Neeson, $4.50, one of the pace influences in the race. When Harry Met Saddle returns to Trentham, he's travelled around a little bit, but some of his Trentham runs have been super. All in Mana, $8.50. Zachaz is 2 from 2 is $6. Awesome L, $5.50, and Fictitious. Matthew Cross was very big on the chances of her at $7.50. How did you assess race number 4.
Some horses just grab you when you see them, and when Harry Met Saddle is one of those. He's a big, strong, powerful horse, very similar to Samson actually in the St Ledger. And he's a horse who was winning here 3 starts back. Was it was a super win that day. Returned to Trentham and ran second. That was in behind Pep Talk, who's at $15 in this race, and then went to New Plymouth and just in a race that was dominated by those on speed. Actually, Neeson won it. Came out of the trail and won. And Neeson does look the danger here as well.
Yeah.
But when Harry Met Saddle got a long way back, was closing nicely. I think back to Trentham with a truly run race at the money, I thought was an attractive proposition.
You might have a fair idea by race number 4 as to how that Trentham track is going to play, because if it does play up and in, then Neeson is a horse that you'd be wanting to plus a little bit. He's tight enough, Neeson, but he'll run you a genuine race.
I think he's on his way down south too, so he'll go from here down to Riccarton after this. So he's on the up, and he's also progressing into a decent southern campaign.
And congratulations to the Narclays as well. We had a big result last weekend with Spanish Whisper. They still retain ownership in that. Spanish Whisper winning last weekend. Race number 5, the second of our black type races, the Wentwood Grange Stakes, where Concert Hall is the 230 favourite. I-Grain 480, Living on a Prayer at $6.50. Jessie G hasn't drawn ideally. Again, Aidan on the first call. If you go to the Punters Lounge and pick up the first call replay, you'll find us talking in a nauseam about Concert Hall and how impressed we were with their last start effort.
Yeah, we both really like her, Jason, and
the fact that we're agreeing a lot, I don't know what that
what's
means.
Going on. Normally we're very
mean?
much head to head. The win 2 starts back at Tauranga was good. Every time this horse has won, it's won by a margin, and the other times things just haven't been right. It's come up against a track that hasn't suited, or a race that has turned into a
taken inside runs,
exactly.
found walls.
So every time, and I'm just thinking, here's a horse who's won 4 of 8. Just looks to be a horse who's progressive, and this doesn't seem to be out of her league. Her win at Matamata last time out was just explosive, and beating home a very good horse in Rhinestone Cowboy, and really put the slipper in late. I think she's Group 1 potential even, so I don't think a race like the Group 3 Cattle Stakes is going to stand out.
I'm not suggesting that she can't travel, but the only issue that I can see with her is that she goes to Trentham and doesn't enjoy the long flow trip.
Yeah.
And she turns up a horse that's unsettled and just doesn't cope with it all. That's the only thing really. If she turns up in the same form as Matamata, I just expect her to win.
Yeah.
So it'll be up to you and Rozzo tomorrow, Mark Rosanowski, on track to find that information out. It might be too late for some that are backing her today, but to find that information out that they're happy with how she's arrived, because if she arrives in the same condition, I agree with you. I think she's super.
So I think we're both got her as our bet to the day, haven't we?
Yeah, well, we've nominated that now, so we can't pull out of that by the time you get that information at Trentham tomorrow. However, be that as may, you don't need to go just yet, you can wait. Race number 6, this is the market for the Norwood family Wellington Guineas. Very competitive race. You've got Dawn Patrol $3.20 drawn the car park at 15. King Louis at 19. You've got Chigi Express at 6. Excellent resuming, having been gelded in November. Cyber Attacks at 9. Cavallo Veloce's at a big price. Langkawi's as well. Bigger Winner is shortened from a double figure quote to $8.50. Then you've got She's a Thief, who was good 2 starts ago when winning and didn't lose any respect. And from the south, from Rickett and Emily Margaret, who has some good numbers on the board and rating company down there, and Miss Labasa is dropping back sharply in trip, but we know that she's got an engine and a reputation. How did you sort through the Wellington Guineas, Aidan?
I thought there's a bit of tail to this race, but as well as that, there is very, very good top-end depth. But there's a clear standout for mine, and that is Dawn Patrol, who I've got as a win bet here. Does have that tricky little barrier draw, so it's going to be Michael McNabb's job to find cover somehow and just to get some sort of drag into the race. But what we've seen of this horse so far, 4 starts, 2 wins, 2 seconds, one of those seconds being in the Group 1 2000 Guineas, and that was in behind Madison County, who's been our yardstick 3-year-old. The trial was exceptional. Just showed that the horse is back in very good form, and by all accounts the work since has been exceptional as well. Comes up against Chigi Express, who was terrific in winning the Mufasa Stakes at Ellerslie last time out, but I thought Dawn Patrol was a clear standout.
The one thing in favour, just to support what you're saying about Dawn Patrol, is that when he was coming through the grades, I remember speaking to Jason Waddell about the horse, and his feeling at that stage was that, you know, if he was drawn wide, that might not necessarily be the worst thing for him. Firstly, get cover settled, but then to be able to move into the race when he likes. And
definitely.
Remember when Opie Bosson rode him at Matamata?
It was wide
Very
throughout.
clear instructions. Get some cover first, get him to relax, and then move when you want. And he just came into it so easily and hacked up there. So whilst it is a wide draw and sort of more often than not that's a concern for the horse himself, it might not be so bad. So
you're giving Chiji Express a chance of beating him though, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I just really thought that he showed that he had returned and positively returned from that gelding operation.
Super win.
It was a very strong win. He'll need a bit of luck from that draw too, but if he gets that cover and can get clear running in the straight, and he's got that turn of foot that could challenge Dawn Patrol, not sure that he's quite in for a fight just yet. He did it so easily last time, but maybe he's going to be more of a fighter now. Race number 7 is the next on the program there at Trentham, and this is the GavelHouse.com Lightning Handicap. 450 Sasso Kubara, the second favourite behind Princess Kiridu. Volks Lightning there is at 850. Yearns Ride and Commission at 8 there. I've neglected Ferrando to mention him, and that's silly because he opened at 11 and is shortened to 7. And every tick in of that track condition from dead 6 to better, connections will be extending their grid, I'm sure, Ed.
Yeah, he was really good in the Telegraph. He's only been nutted late by Enzo's Lad, and he did win this race last year as well, Ferrando, so he's a fast horse and does have a lot on his side. And he's the likely leader again without a great deal of pace against him, maybe passing shot, another one to go forward. But in the end, I've settled with Volks Lightning. I've been really liking what she's been doing. Her run last time out in behind Princess Kiridu in the Waikato Stud plate was a very good one. Just got caught up into a little bit of traffic in the closing stages and hit the line nicely. Just a touch over a length behind Princess Kiridu, but comes in 2.5 kilograms better. Princess Kiridu's been going really well, and I think probably is still the horse to beat. She wasn't far away in a railway and has been all around it. So around those two. And the other one that you really need to consider here is Sasso Kubara, who did make a big impression. She was terrific at Otaki on New Zealand debut, and a rain-affected track will help her, but she's got no tactical speed.
It's certainly a race that you'll have a good feel about the track by race number 7 and where you want to place a horse like Ferrando, because if that track comes back a bit more than it is at the moment and they really are running along, then we know that suits him and you've got to really promote him.
Yeah.
So I certainly have left him out on the basis that it's a dead track, the middle side of dead, but if it gets anywhere near a good 3 or sort of a dead 4 and you can see them running times, then boy, he's going to be a leading contender. The Albasti Equiworld New Zealand Oaks, Albasti Equiworld Dubai New Zealand Oaks, is the Group 1 feature, the 8th on the card, with Queen of Diamonds, the favourite with bookmakers, is drawn 18 before scratchings. 480 Pin Me Down, 650 Imelda Mary, and then you've got a host of horses between $10 and $25 or even $20 that it's really hard to rule out. And you're talking 1 or 2 points in your own markets compared with bookmaker markets, between them being a back and value and not. So there really is, it's a race of fine margins, and it'll be a quality ride that gets it done. Yeah,
it's a not a bad little field here of New Zealand Oaks contenders. Fillies that I think we've got sort of still about 8 of these that are nominated for an Australian Oaks. So we do see some horses who are really not only looking for Group 1 success, but also looking to earn a trip to Australia as well. In the end, I've gone with Imelda Mary. I think she's been the most consistent of those horses coming through. She was terrific in winning the Royal Stakes at Ellerslie over 2,000 metres on New Year's Day. She's gone on to run a very nice race in the Karaka Million 3-year-old Classic, headed to Te Rapa, won the Sir Tristram Fillies Classic after getting a lovely trip from a good draw. She gets a good trip from Barrier 4 here, and her run in the Lowland Stakes at Group 2 in the lead up from a long way back. She did have a track into the race, she was brought into the race, but still a very nice win. She's got to turn the tables on Queen of Diamonds, who was terrific that day and probably has the best turn of foot in the race. She, I think, was good in that race as well, and I'm liking what Clementine has been doing just on the way through as well. But in a really even race, like horses like Sauvignon Blanc have got claims. The late was good at New Plymouth, fibrillated last time out. So it's a really nice edition of this New Zealand Oak. I'm sticking with Imelda Mary, and I thought she was the best value on the race. What about you, Jason?
Yeah, I was with Imelda Mary as well on an each-way basis. I thought it was a race where, outside of the top 2 in the market, Queen of Diamonds and Pin Me Down, you could play each way. So I was happy to play each way on her. Pin Me Down, I've got a lot of respect for.
I've got classy filly written about her. She's been very good on the way through.
And in parenthesis, what Pam Gerard has spoken about, tough.
Yeah.
A very tough filly. So she's a filly that, with that level of fight and toughness, could be right there. If the TAB open a top 5 market, which I expect them to, then I think She's a Thinker is an excellent top 5 proposition. The horse that you spoke of that towed Imelda Mary into the Lowland and she held off Imelda Mary. She's a thinker.
She did get a toe into it herself. She's a thinker as well,
Yeah.
but
So
still very good.
That's right. So she's a really good top 5 bet for mine. Okay, race number 9. I was looking for my notes. I don't have it. The New World Stokes Valley Premier.
You can borrow mine.
Past 5. Your thoughts
They might
on
be
this?
misleading, to be fair. We'll have a look here. Just Fabulous is actually in the Wellington Guineas, so 4 and 160 may not start in this race. Lady Rudolph, I think it's a worthy favourite at 350, 145. You only have to think back to that win at Otaki at the beginning of January. She was terrific that day. Has had just one start since running 3rd at Awapuni. For me, that's a race that should have her tuned up and ready to be winning this race. Lincoln Sky drops back from a Waikato Guineas last time out, was okay in that race and had placed in the CD in 2 prior runs, including a good second at Trentham back on Thorndon Milder. That was in the Pep Talk race, so it'll give us some sort of chance there as well. But they are the 2, Just Fabulous if she does happen to start here. She's got okay form, like she's run 3rd to Queen of Diamonds, then beaten She's a Thinker before that last start running behind Langkawi. So round those 3, but I am keen on Lady Rudolph. I think she's a filly with a mare with a lot of upside.
Yeah, if Just Fabulous start, should be a great chance. I thought Paddy Burke's a massive price at $19. Worth an each-way play outside of Aidan's top selection, Lady Rudolph there. Aidan Rodley, he'll be on track at Trentham. Join him on TAB Trackside 1 tomorrow, also on the Punters Lounge Live. All the best with your bets wherever you're betting around New Zealand or Australasia tomorrow.